Words appear. Whose plant life is it anyway? In association with Sterling Creations and VIP Tech Productions present Ask Donna. Donna Jodhan answers your questions and offers you tips and tricks on being an author, an expert, a sight loss coach, and an advocate. Ask Donna, the advocate.
Good morning, everybody, and greetings from me, author and sight loss coach Donna Jodhan. I'm so pleased to be here with you one more time for the month of July, and I hope that everyone had a very enjoyable Canada Day celebration as well as an American Day celebration. So happy Canada Day and America Day to all of my listeners. I want to thank those who have taken the time to send me feedback, both by email and by other means. And I want to really thank you for your suggestions, your feedback, your thoughts, because it is only through you and with you that I can continue to find material for my shows. Most of all, I'd like to thank my dear friend Victor Guvia for giving me the opportunity to continue coming to you every week. So once more, happy July, everybody. And as you know, every week I wear a different hat. For this week, I'm going to wear my advocacy hat. Next week will be my author's hat. The following week will be my sight loss coaching hat or my coaching hat. And for the final week of July, I will be wearing my so-called expert hat. So let's get down to business and get going, because I'm sure people are busy and they have things to do on this gorgeous day. All right? So for this week, we will be talking about provincial entities when it comes to advocacy. Okay? For next week, we'll be talking about how paying attention to you-know-who, the seagulls, can help to spark and stimulate one's imagination. The week after that, I'll be talking about some strategies to deal with ants when they uninvitingly come into our food. And for the final week of July, we'll be talking about how one can use a sense of taste to develop an accessible career. Right. So let's get down to business, as I say. And it's all about how one deals with provincial entities when it comes to advocacy. Okay? So, what are some examples of provincial entities? First of all, you got to know the difference. You got to know which company falls under the jurisdiction of a federal, which entity falls under federal jurisdiction and which entity falls under provincial jurisdiction. It is very important to know this, as I said in my last month's feature of examples of federal entities, because if you file with the wrong jurisdiction, you could be in very big trouble, and you will be in for frustration, because you're going to be told, let's say, for example, you filed a complaint against Bell Canada, but provincially, in the provincial court. You'll quickly be told, no, you have to go federally, and you have to start all over again. But if you file against a provincial entity, and that means that the entity has to reside in the province in which you live, then you are good to go. So for example, if you wanted to file a complaint against, let's say, Hydro Ontario, and you filed it provincially, you're in the right track or on the right track. But if you filed that complaint against Hydro Ontario federally, no, it'll be thrown out. Similarly, you can file against Elections Ontario in the provincial jurisdiction. Or if there is an Elections Quebec or an Elections Saskatchewan, Elections Saskatchewan, I apologize, you need to file these complaints against this entity provincially. Okay? So you got to know which jurisdiction you need to file against. All provincially governed departments, all departments within the provincial government fall under provincial jurisdiction. And in Ontario, you need to pay particular attention to the AODA. All right? AODA. And that is the organization that governs or puts out or drives the Ontario Disability Act. And you need to pay particular attention to this act if or when you decide to file a complaint. Okay? All right. If you're looking for a monthly subscription or monthly newsletter where you can subscribe for free to learn all about things that you can use or tips that you can use to help you in your daily tasks, tips that are not technology oriented, I call it the other side of technology, you can do so by going to www.donnajodhan.com/subscribe. That is www.donnajodhan.com/subscribe. And it is called the Blind Lifestyle Newsletter. And if you'd like to read more about this newsletter, you can go to www.donnajodhan.com/tbln.html. One more time, www.donnajodhan.com/tbln.html. And there you'll find a lot of the back issues you can read, or you can write to me at Ask Donna My Blind Life at gmail.com. And I'm also inviting you to visit www.sterlingcreations.ca/news.html. There you can read more about my advocacy activities plus more. Or you can read my blogs by visiting www.sterlingcreations.ca/blog. And Sterling Creations is spelled STERLINGCREATIONS. Okay? www.sterlingcreations.ca/blog. Now, it is time for the good old mental stretch. And I've had so many people respond to my mental stretch. It's a new thing, or a thing I thought of developing months and months ago. I think if you can have the physical stretch, you can have all kinds of stretches. Why not a mental stretch? Yeah, let's try it for this week, okay? The mental stretch. Well, it's all about sparking and stimulating one's mind, one's imagination, and one's creative juices. It's called the MIC principle, the MIC principle. And trust me when I tell you that this mental stretch, just take a few minutes, listen to me, and you can also expand on this mental stretch, okay? For this week, we're going to use the sense of hearing to help us with our mental stretch. Let's think of it this way. We're in the month of July, sitting quietly on an afternoon or a late afternoon or early evening, or even late evening and into the night, or early in the morning. Give yourself a minute to listen. Listen carefully. Listen attentively. And suddenly, what comes into your space, your hearing space, is a sense or the sound of crickets chirping. Nothing more beautiful than being able to listen to crickets chirping. I know they could be irritating, but what really fascinates me is you can have at least one of them chirping or a bunch of them chirping. And I can't really imitate how they sound, but it's sort of a slower staccato of beep, 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 beep. If you allow these sounds to come into your hearing space, trust me when I tell you that they can certainly wake up your mind, wake up your imagination, and wake up your creative juices. It's all about sparking and stimulating your mind, your imagination, and your creative juices. Okay? Think of another sound. The sound of a lawnmower. Now you might think that this sound is irritating. I don't. Think of the lawnmower roaring by as it cuts the grass. It's doing its work, and you're there sitting and listening to it go. It might just turn the other way and encourage you and motivate you to wake up your mind, your imagination, and your creative juices. The sound of a lawnmower roaring by, or gently going by, if you want to believe this or not, as it cuts the grass. Okay? How about breeze blowing through the trees? It's gentle, very gentle as you sit and listen to it. It makes a sort of a shishing sound, like shh, shh, shh. That to me is a sound that wakes up my mind, my imagination, and my creative juices. Good. If you'd like to interact with me, engage with me, send me an email to askdonnaonblindlife@gmail.com. Excuse me, I'm always getting this poor old email address wrong. So it's askdonnaonblindlife@gmail.com. askdonnaonblindlife@gmail.com. Okay? Right. That's it for this week. I want to thank everyone for having tuned in to listen to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wish you a terrific day and a terrific week. And thank you once again to my good friend Victor for having given me this opportunity. Bye for now, and talk to you next week.
Tune in every Wednesday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific for Ask Donna on Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway?